I never thought I'd be writing one of these posts, but here we are. I guess I just need to get this off my chest before it eats me alive. I'm a 28-year-old guy, and up until a few weeks ago, I genuinely thought I had my life figured out. I was in a solid, long-term relationship with my girlfriend Sophie, 27. We'd been together for 3 years, living together for 2. The kind of relationship people compliment. The kind that makes friends say, "Wow, you guys are goals." I was even secretly looking at engagement rings during my lunch breaks. Yeah. That kind of serious. Sophie and I met in the most boring way possible, through mutual friends at a board game night. She laughed at my stupid jokes. I liked how competitive she got over Monopoly. We clicked almost immediately and started dating not long after. After a year, moving in together just felt logical. We were already basically living at each other's places anyway. We had routines. Sunday morning pancakes. Evening walks in the park. She'd watch terrible reality TV while I scrolled on my phone pretending not to care. Normal couple stuff. Comfortable stuff. She works in marketing. I'm a project manager in construction. Nothing glamorous, but stable. Our families got along great. My mom adored her. Her dad always invited me over to watch football. We were that couple people pointed to as proof that relationships could actually work. Everything was perfectly normal. Until last Tuesday. We were sitting at the kitchen table having dinner. Sophie was talking about some project at work, and I was halfway through a sandwich when she casually said, "What would you think about trying an open relationship?" I froze. Fork midair. Chewing stopped. Brain completely shut down. I honestly thought I'd misheard her. But she just kept going, like she'd asked whether I wanted to try a new restaurant. She told me she'd been reading about open relationships online. How lots of couples were doing it these days. How it helped people grow individually. How it could actually make relationships stronger. My first thought was the obvious one. Is there someone specific you want to date? I asked. She got defensive immediately. No. It's not about anyone else. I just think we're still young. I don't want us waking up in 10 years wondering what we missed. This was the same woman who once got annoyed because a waitress smiled at me too much. And now she was talking about dating other people like it was a self-improvement hobby. Are you unhappy? I asked, genuinely worried I'd missed something. She reached across the table, grabbed my hand, and smiled. I love you. I love us. This isn't about being unhappy. It's about making what we have even better. My appetite disappeared completely. The food in front of me might as well have been cardboard. Meanwhile, Sophie was glowing, talking about boundaries, rules, communication, like she'd rehearsed this speech a dozen times already. All I could think was, where is this really coming from? And yeah, I know this makes me sound weak. But I said okay. Not because I wanted to. Not because I believed in it. But because the look in her eyes told me she'd already decided. Saying no felt like slamming a door she had no intention of keeping closed. Are you sure you're okay with this? She asked, all wide-eyed concern, like I had a real choice. I looked at her and knew the truth, this wasn't a choice at all. Something had already shifted between us. And if I wanted to understand what was really happening, I had to play along. Yeah, I said, forcing a nod. We can try it. And just like that, I stepped into something I didn't believe in, with the sinking feeling that I was already losing her. That night, Sophie was excited, talking about dating apps, schedules, rules she'd clearly already thought through. I lay in bed later, staring at the ceiling while she slept peacefully beside me. Part of me wanted to wake her up and take it all back. Another part of me was terrified that if I did, she'd just do it anyway. I didn't sleep at all. And I had no idea this was only the beginning. The next morning felt surreal, like waking up in someone else's life. Sophie was already up when I came into the kitchen. She was humming to herself while making coffee, completely relaxed, like she hadn't dropped a nuclear bomb on our relationship the night before. She kissed my cheek, handed me a mug, and started talking about her plans for the day. I kept studying her face, half expecting to see doubt. Regret. Anything. There was nothing. By that evening, she had already downloaded Tinder and Bumble. "Help me pick photos," she said casually, sliding her phone across the table. I stared at the screen. Photos of my girlfriend. Smiling. Posing. Pictures I'd taken on vacations, birthdays, random weekends. Pictures that used to be just for us. "You don't have to if it's weird," she added, but she was already scrolling. I told myself I was being mature. That this was what I'd agreed to. So I helped. I even took new photos of her by the window because she said the lighting was better. I remember lifting the phone and thinking how insane this was, taking pictures of the woman I loved so other men could swipe right on her. She got matches almost instantly. Notifications kept popping up while we were sitting on the couch. Every buzz felt like a small electric shock. She laughed it off, saying things like, "Wow, people are fast," or, "This is kind of overwhelming." I tried setting up my own profile later that night. I stared at the blank bio for nearly 20 minutes. What do you even write? In a committed relationship but technically available? Emotionally unavailable, just here because my girlfriend asked me to be? I closed the app without finishing it. Sophie noticed, of course. "You'll get used to it," she said. "You're just overthinking." Maybe she was right. Or maybe she knew exactly what she was doing. Within a week, she had 3 dates lined up. 3. She showed me their profiles like we were gossiping about strangers at a bar. One was a personal trainer. Another worked in law. The third owned a food truck and had a dog. "Which one do you think I should meet first?" she asked. I shrugged, pretending my chest didn't feel tight. "Whichever," I said. The first night she went out, she wore a black dress I'd never seen before. New. Tight. The kind she usually saved for special occasions with me. "How do I look?" she asked, spinning once in the bedroom. "You look great," I said. And I meant it. That somehow made it worse. She came home late. Way later than usual. I pretended to be asleep, but I heard her texting for almost an hour. Little bursts of quiet laughter slipping out into the dark. The next morning, she was glowing. From there, it escalated fast. Coffee on Monday. Dinner Wednesday. Drinks Friday. Different guy each time. Each time, she came home lighter, happier, while I felt myself shrinking. I started noticing things. The way she'd check her phone during our conversations. How she stopped asking about my day. How our Sunday pancake tradition disappeared without a word. One night, curiosity turned into something uglier. I drove past the restaurant she said she was at. I saw her sitting at the bar with some guy in a suit. Laughing. Her hand resting on his arm. Her eyes locked on him in that familiar way, the way she used to look at me. That was the moment something cracked. It wasn't just jealousy. It was grief. I was watching my relationship die in real time, while pretending everything was fine. When I finally tried to say something, she looked genuinely confused. "Isn't this what we agreed on?" she asked. "You're allowed to date too." I didn't want to date. I wanted her. 3 weeks passed like that. 3 weeks of lying awake. 3 weeks of feeling invisible in my own apartment. 3 weeks of waiting for her to realize what she was throwing away. She never did. Instead, she started acting proud, like she'd unlocked some secret level of dating the rest of us were too insecure to handle. And that's when the sadness slowly turned into something else. Resentment. I stopped trying to win her attention back. Stopped asking questions. Stopped caring where she went. And that's when Emma started coming around more. Emma had always been there, Sophie's best friend since college. Movie nights. Helping us move. Bringing soup when someone was sick. She was the kind of person you didn't notice romantically because she just felt safe. She came over one night while Sophie was out. Took one look at me and said, "You look awful. What's going on?" I don't know why, but I told her everything. She listened. Really listened. And when I finished, she shook her head slowly. "That's not an open relationship," she said. "That's her doing whatever she wants and calling it growth." Hearing someone else say it out loud made me feel less crazy. Emma started coming over more often after that. We'd sit on the couch, order takeout, watch movies. No pressure. No pretending. One night, she got quiet. Started fidgeting with her necklace. "I need to tell you something," she said. "And it might make things complicated." My stomach dropped. "I've had feelings for you for a long time," she admitted. "Even before you and Sophie got together." The room felt smaller suddenly. She explained how she never said anything because Sophie was her best friend. How she dated someone else hoping it would go away. How watching Sophie hurt me these past weeks had been killing her. "You deserve better," she said softly. And for the first time in weeks, someone actually meant it. I looked at Emma, really looked at her. The way she paid attention. The way she cared. And I realized something terrifying. I hadn't lost Sophie all at once. I'd lost her piece by piece. And maybe, just maybe, I'd been standing next to someone who saw me clearly the entire time. Sophie came home earlier than usual that night. I was sitting at the kitchen table with Emma's empty coffee mug still there, a stupid mistake. Sophie noticed it immediately. "Oh," she said, raising an eyebrow. "Emma was here?" "Yeah," I answered. "Calm. Too calm." She shrugged and dropped her keys. "Cool. I like that you're not isolating yourself anymore." Isolating. As if I'd been the problem. She changed clothes, humming again, then casually added, "By the way, I'm staying over at Mark's tonight." She said his name like I was supposed to know it already. My chest tightened. "You're staying the night?" She looked genuinely surprised by the question. "Yeah. I told you this might happen." We agreed to be honest. Honest. That word tasted bitter now. She moved closer, touched my arm, not lovingly, just reassuring, like you'd touch a coworker who's overreacting. "You're okay, right?" she asked. "You don't want to start putting rules on this. That defeats the whole point." There it was. The line. I could either swallow everything I felt, or become controlling. "I'm fine," I said. She smiled, kissed my cheek, and left with an overnight bag. I didn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., Emma texted me. "You okay?" I had a weird feeling. I stared at the screen for a long time before replying. "Can you come over?" She arrived in sweatpants and a hoodie, hair still damp from a rushed shower. She didn't ask questions, just sat next to me on the couch. "She's sleeping at his place," I said quietly. Emma's jaw tightened. "I'm sorry." We sat in silence. The kind that presses on your ears. Then Sophie texted. "Mark thinks this whole open relationship thing is messy. He says I deserve someone more evolved." I laughed. A short, broken sound. "She's already rewriting the story," I said. "I'm the insecure one. The obstacle." Emma looked at me, eyes dark. "Do you know what hurts the most?" I shook my head. "She didn't ask if you were okay," Emma said. "She asked if you'd be convenient." That did it. Something inside me snapped, not loudly, not dramatically. Just a clean break. I stood up. Started pacing. "She wanted freedom," I said. "So I gave it to her." "She wanted honesty." I swallowed mine. "She wanted no rules, except the ones that protect her." Emma watched me carefully. "And what do you want?" The question felt dangerous. I stopped pacing. I want to stop feeling like I'm waiting to be replaced. Emma stood too close now. Too close. You already are, she said gently. Just not by someone better. The air between us shifted. Heavy. Charged. I should have stepped back. Instead, I said, if Sophie walked in right now, what would she think? Emma didn't hesitate. She'd think you crossed a line she never cared about. That was the moment. Not the kiss, that came later. The moment was realizing Sophie had drawn boundaries only to protect herself, and left me standing outside all of them. When Emma kissed me, it wasn't rushed. It wasn't messy. It felt deliberate. Like choosing, not escaping. I pulled away first. This changes everything, I said. Emma nodded. It already has. The front door unlocked an hour later. Sophie froze when she saw us sitting together, not touching, but closer than friends should be. Her eyes flicked between us. What's going on? She asked, voice sharp now. I met her gaze. You wanted honesty, I said. So here it is. Her smile vanished. And for the first time since she suggested opening the relationship. She looked scared. Morning light filled the apartment like nothing had happened. That felt cruel. Sophie was already awake, sitting at the table with red eyes and a cup of coffee she wasn't drinking. She looked smaller somehow. Quieter. Like someone who'd finally realized the game had real consequences. I called in sick, she said without looking at me. We need to talk. I sat across from her. The space between us felt measured now. Intentional. I ended things with Mark, she said quickly. Blocked him. Deleted the apps. I nodded, waiting. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she continued. I just wanted to feel chosen again. There it was again. Wanted. Chosen. Never once us. I believe you, I said. And I meant it. Her head snapped up. Hope flashed in her eyes. You do? Yes, I said calmly. I believe you didn't plan to lose me. The hope faded. That's not the same thing, she whispered. No, I agreed. It isn't. She reached across the table, fingers trembling. Please don't throw this away because of a mistake. I didn't take her hand. It wasn't one mistake, I said. It was a series of choices. And the biggest one was assuming I'd always stay. Tears rolled down her face. She didn't wipe them away. So what now? She asked. I took a slow breath. My heart was steady, not numb, just clear. Now we stop pretending, I said. I'm moving out. Her chair scraped the floor as she stood up. No. Don't do that. We can fix this. You're right, I said. We can fix something. She stepped closer, desperate. Then let's do it. Together. I shook my head. I don't want to fix what taught me how easily I can be replaced. That landed hard. What about Emma? She asked suddenly. Sharp. Defensive. I don't know, I answered honestly. This isn't about her. She laughed bitterly. Of course it is. You wouldn't be this brave without her. I met her eyes. No. I wouldn't be this honest without you. That stopped her. By noon, I'd packed a bag. Not everything. Just enough. At the door, she finally broke completely. You're making the biggest mistake of your life, she sobbed. I paused, hand on the handle. Maybe, I said. But it's the first decision I've made that wasn't about keeping you comfortable. I left. Emma was waiting in her car down the street. She didn't smile when she saw me. She just unlocked the door. As we drove away, Sophie didn't follow. Didn't call. Didn't text. She'd already lost control of the story. And for the first time since this began. So had I. But freedom felt better than control ever did. The first few days felt unreal. Not dramatic. Not tragic. Just quiet. I stayed on Emma's couch at first. Not because anything happened, it didn't, but because being alone felt heavier than being confused together. Sophie didn't text. That scared me more than if she had. I kept checking my phone anyway. Muscle memory. Habit. A reflex built from years of being needed. Emma noticed. She's waiting, Emma said one night, handing me a beer. Not for you to come back. For you to break first. That sounded exactly like Sophie. On the fourth day, the message finally came. Can we talk? Just talk. No pressure. I stared at it for a long time before replying. Okay. We met at the cafe where we'd had our first date. Her idea. Nostalgia as leverage. She was already there, hands wrapped around a mug, wearing the sweater I'd once told her made her look safe. She smiled when she saw me, a small, careful smile. You look different, she said. So do you. She laughed softly. I haven't been sleeping. Neither had I. But I didn't say that. She jumped straight in. I've been thinking a lot. About us. About what I did. I waited. I treated you like a guarantee, she said quietly. And when I thought I had you locked in, I started testing how far I could go. That honesty surprised me. I didn't think losing you would feel like this, she added. I thought I'd feel relieved. Empowered. And? I asked. Her eyes filled. I feel hollow. We sat there while the coffee cooled between us. I ended everything, she said again. I'm not seeing anyone. I don't want anyone. I nodded. I believe you. Her breath hitched. Then why does it still feel like you're gone? Because I was. Sophie, I said gently, you didn't lose me when I left. You lost me when you stopped seeing me as someone who could walk away. She reached for my hand this time. I didn't pull back immediately. I know I don't deserve another chance, she whispered. But I need to know, is there any part of you that still wants this? I thought of Emma. Not romantically, not yet, but of how she listened. How she noticed when I went quiet. How she never made me feel like a placeholder. I miss who we were, I said honestly. But I don't trust who you were becoming with me. That broke her. Tears slid down her face as she nodded, like she'd expected that answer all along. I hate that I needed to lose you to understand, she said. I don't, I replied softly. I hate that understanding didn't make you change sooner. We sat in silence after that. No dramatics. No last kiss. Just the weight of something ending properly. When we stood to leave, she hugged me, carefully, like someone handling something fragile they no longer owned. Take care of yourself, she said. I answered. And for the first time, it was true. Outside, my phone buzzed. Emma, you okay? I looked back at the cafe once more, then typed. Yeah. I finally am. And as I walked away, I didn't feel victorious. I felt free. A month passed. Not the dramatic kind where everything suddenly makes sense, just enough time for the noise to fade. Emma and I took things slowly. Slower than either of us expected. No labels. No late-night promises. Just dinners, long walks, and conversations that didn't feel like negotiations. One evening, we sat on her balcony watching the city lights blink on. Do you ever miss her? Emma asked quietly. I didn't answer right away. I miss the version of myself that believed love meant endurance, I said finally. But not her. Emma nodded like she understood exactly what I meant. Then Sophie reached out again. Not to me, to Emma. She sent a long message. Not angry. Not begging. Just, aware. She wrote about therapy. About how she'd realized she chased validation because she was terrified of being ordinary. How she'd mistaken attention for intimacy. And then she wrote something that stuck with me. I thought opening the relationship would prove how evolved I was. Instead, it showed me how easily I could walk away from someone who loved me quietly. Emma showed me the message without commentary. I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt closure. A few days later, I ran into Sophie by accident at the grocery store. No dramatic music. Just a cart, some awkward eye contact, and a brief pause. She smiled first. "You look peaceful," she said. "I am." She nodded. "I'm glad." She hesitated, then added, "You taught me something important." I waited. "That love isn't about having options," she said softly. "It's about choosing not to use them." I believed her. But belief didn't mean return. We said goodbye without promises. Without bitterness. Just honesty. That night, Emma and I cooked dinner together. Nothing fancy. Pasta, wine, laughter. At one point, she looked at me and said, "You know, you didn't win." I smiled. "I know. You just stopped playing." And she was right. Because winning would have meant proving something to Sophie. But walking away meant proving something to myself. That I wasn't a backup plan. That love doesn't need to hurt to be real. That being chosen starts with choosing yourself. And that was enough.